Hey there, folks. Despite everything, I'm still Isaac.
And I'm Claire, and I have a yo-yo.
And this is
Make
That
that game!
Game!
Where we pitch the latest
The greatest!
new video game ideas.
Folks, we're not makers of games. That's not what we do here. We just give you the ideas. Quickly moving on, music plays, or music has already played. Hey, Claire, do you have any news?
I do, but I also have games I've played too.
Well, I'm only interested in news right now.
Okay, well, I guess I won't talk about any of the games I've been playing.
You can do whatever you'd like, but
You always ask me games first. You always.
I was switching it up, keeping the listeners guessing, keeping you guessing.
I don't like that.
Keeping myself guessing.
I don't want to guess on this podcast show.
Oh, geez. All right, fine. All right, do you have any gaming endeavors / newses?
Thank you.
Okay.
Music to my ears. No, I didn't actually. I've been playing Restless Soul, which I talked about last episode. I've also been playing Kirby Star Allies. You and I tried that together, and also I've been playing alone. And I will
mostly alone at this point, right?
Yeah. I will save some of my thoughts on that for later. And then I also did a little bit of Animal Crossing per Meghana's request. I did finish the train hospital, and so I will post those to our Instagram shortly, so you can see, or I might have already posted it. Who knows? So you can see my train hospital. So that's what I've been working on. But the biggest and best gaming news, which I'm sure all of you already know because it's such huge news, is that Turnip Boy is coming back.
Wow. Turnip Boy 2? A squeakquel?
Yeah, it's not called that though, but it is a new Turnip Boy game. The Graffiti Games and Snoozy Kazoo released a trailer, and you can go watch it. It looks very good. It looks like the Turnip's going to be creating a lot more crimes this time.
Okay, good. I was about to ask, because last game was about tax evasion, which is a white-collar crime.
Yeah.
What crime are we dealing with in this one?
So it looks like some bank robberies.
Oh, that's more of a blue-collar crime. That's cool.
But yeah, I think it'll be good. I think it's going to be great. I'm so excited. 2023, no other details as of yet, but big news from Turnip Boy. Also, I should have written down, but the Nintendo situation occurred in which they said games that are coming. What was that called? A special thing?
The Nintendo Direct?
Yes. You know, the situation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what they call it.
Yeah. So I took a look, and a couple of games that I'm excited about is they're doing a new Kirby Dream Land. Mm-hmm. I never played that game, but I love my Kirby, as we know, so I will definitely want to try it. Also, there's one called Fae Farm where it's like a farming sim, but you also have to like save a town. And I feel like that sounds fun because I like Animal Crossing, except I think it's too boring because there's no storyline. So like this could be good. Mm-hmm. It looks super
That's
cute.
one of the 18 farming simulator games shown at Nintendo Direct.
The other one I'm really excited about is there's something called IB or LB. I don't know. But it's a game about someone discovering mysteries in an art gallery.
Oh, yeah, that's an old RPG Maker game. Hold on. Hold it. I'm live looking this up.
Okay.
I'm live and so they did. Really? Yeah. Okay. It is the game that I'm thinking of. Cool. Wow. Did not expect that.
I don't know. It looks interesting. I didn't actually see any of the trailer, but I read the description and like, I don't know. That's just my wheelhouse. I love art mysteries, so I definitely want to give it a try.
Yep.
And then they also, for funsies, will have a new SpongeBob game, and we know I love a SpongeBob game, so who knows? Maybe we'll see that too. But
Wow.
yeah. So that's all my news and games. But Isaac, I was also curious if there's any Nintendo Direct things that you're excited about that you heard, or also any games you played.
Yeah, so for the Nintendo
That
Direct,
the situation.
the situation, I did not pay a whole lot of attention to it myself. I mostly absorbed it through the Twitter sphere and what other people were excited about. I have not firsthand looked into it myself. But I do know Pikmin 4
Oh, yep,
was
I saw that.
announced. And for those of you who don't know, Pikmin is a game where you pull carrots out of the ground and they collect bottle caps for you.
Yeah, it looks cute, but also boring, to be honest.
Wow. Well, hold on. I have actually put my notes on two different. Instead of using my computer, I've been typing notes on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Cool.
because I'm fun. So just looking at
Well,
that.
anyway, what I would normally say now is, oh, you're looking at the games you've played or any news you have?
Yeah, I didn't do my whole bit. Wow. I played The Wandering Village or Wandering Village,
Ooh, yes.
but it's a new indie city building game with a twist because games got to have a twist nowadays. The twist is you are building your city on the back of a giant animal who you have to measure so not only are you measuring your villagers' needs and wants, but also the animal has needs and wants.
It
So you
looks
gotta.
very cool.
It is. It's a very nice art style. A lot of 2D graphics over like a 3D model. So like the animal itself is a three-dimensional animal, and then on his back, like all your resources and buildings and people are like little hand-drawn 2D guys, which is pretty cool. I'm still letting the thoughts ferment on
Uh-huh.
this one. Positive impression overall to start, so that's good. We love a positive impression
We
right
do, we
away.
do.
It is a game I've also been looking forward to for a while. I remember seeing the first like trailers and announcements for it a while back and going, "Oh, wandering animal! Wow, big guy." I have not actually got into any of the, I guess, integral parts of the game, which sound like they'll really make it or break it. You have to build a food catapult to launch food for the animal, but I haven't gotten the food catapult, and my animal hasn't gotten hungry enough to need it. And also, there's gonna be a poison mechanic at some point, which I have not yet experienced. So hey, stay tuned for that, folks.
Nice, nice. I think it's
This,
really cool. I mean, it's like the perfect, because you love animals and you love city builders. And this is a city on an animal. So I just thought that was great.
Yep. And then the other thing that so I played a demo of a game called Going Under, which I will probably get more into in the Honks and Bonks.
Okay, well.
Speaking of Honks and Bonks,
Mm-hmm.
have you honked or bonked a game lately?
Yes, I have.
Oh, interesting. Would you like to share that
Sure, I will.
information?
And for those of you who don't know, a honk is a good thing, and it's things we like about the game, and a bonk is a bad thing, and it's things we wish were different. That's how I like to say it, because all these games, whether or not they have bonks, usually are good games at the
Unless
core.
they're
The Binding of Isaac.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say it by name out of respect for it and its creator, but yes,
okay, well,
that
you
one,
like it. It wasn't
do.
for me, right? So that's
It was not for you.
yeah.
Folks, if you haven't listened to that episode, listen to it. Listen to all of our episodes. What are you doing not listening to our episodes? Come on.
Come on. But see that proves my point. It's not that it's a bad game. It's that I personally did not like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so just that being said, it's time to honk and bonk Kirby Star Allies.
Whoa!
So Kirby Star Allies is a Kirby game. Wow, big surprise.
I wouldn't have guessed it.
Isaac had me play like in 2020 in girlfriend mode, and which is when just 2-player mode, and I was the second player. And I was so overwhelmed. I was like, I don't even know what happened. So
I was too fast, folks.
Yeah. So I didn't want to play anymore. But then I played Kirby in the Forgotten Land, and Isaac was like, hey, seems like you like this Kirby guy. Maybe we can play more Kirby games. So we said, okay, cool, let's play this again. And Isaac said I could be Kirby this time, so he would be player 2. And it was way more fun playing as Kirby. It's easier to like figure out. And I've actually noticed I'm better at video games. Wow. Than I used to be in 2020. Amazing.
You've practiced?
Playing them makes you better. What?
Oh, wow.
So it's also a lot easier for me to just like use the controls and figure out what I need to do. And since I played Kirby, it's, similar mechanics. So that was a lot easier. However, Isaac didn't feel so good. This is going to be a bonk. But basically, I started playing alone after that because we realized that the 2-player mode just wasn't super satisfying. And I'll go into more details at the bonks, but let's start with the honks. I think the biggest honk for this game is the combo attacks, I guess. So basically the whole conceit is that you are walking around in a regular kind of Kirby area. And as you may or may not know, Kirby's big thing is copy abilities. So Kirby like sucks up things and then can like copy the ability of whatever that person or villain was doing. So for example, here is Sword Kirby. That's if Kirby like eats a sword. Okay. Basically, right? That's the basics.
Yes. Yeah.
So instead of just being able to absorb these things, you can make up to 3 of them allies who follow you around and help you attack villains and stuff like that. So like you could have like a boomerang ally, a like water ally, a little snowman ally, and they're gonna
rock, a little sleepy guy.
Yeah, well, I don't know why you'd want him as an ally.
Because he's cute and
he is
sleeps.
Cute. They're all cute, and I should say I'm going to do the combo moves first, but the cuteness factor is also something. But the combo moves, so basically what this means is to say I have the sword, but I also have like a snowman on my team. I can like hold my sword in the air, and then the snowman's like, I have an idea, and then gives me like ice sword. So it's like, and you can do this with multiple different combinations. Like it almost seems infinite of like how you can combine. You can also like throw your allies around or like make a cyclone with your allies or all this stuff. So it's like very creative and cool. And it's fun to see what combinations you can do. And you have to do specific ones to solve puzzles. It's just really, I think the combo moves are very innovative and fun. And so that's a big honk. The other honk is I like it because I get to know a lot more about like the characters in Kirby. So the allies come from a bunch of different games, and it seems like there's almost every single one ever in this game. Like we hadn't played in so long and the game updated and it's like you have 45 new allies, which that's over exaggerating, but it was a lot. So that's kind of cool because it's like I get to see the characters learn a little bit more about the Kirbyverse, and I think that's fun. I think a honk and a bonk is how cute they are because I find myself feeling so bad for trading out allies.
Oh, like they make the allies cuter.
They're so cute, and I see them, and then I become allies with them, and then they travel with me, but then there's one, like, maybe I need it for, like, a thing, and I have to trade it out because you can only have 3 at a time, and I'm like, but their friend.
Well, yeah, but that just lets them go, I don't know, relax. They go to the break room and
probably it's
soda.
tough. It's like that's the big thing with Kirby games. Everything's cute, and so you end up like murdering all this adorable stuff, and it's tough. But anyway, so there are bonks. One of the first bonks that I already kind of talked about is the team mode is pretty bad. Like it's already a little bit difficult to tell what's going on because you have 3 CPUs basically attacking things as you go. Like there's been lots of times when I've been trying to make an ally with someone, but then one of my already allies will just murder it before I can.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, because they're completely computer operated. Like I can't like direct them to do things. They just do whatever they do.
Oh, there's no like command
No.
buttons. Wow.
Nope, they just do what they do. So that's a little bit, and so because of that, like if you're playing as basically you play as one of the allies, you're not really your own character, and so it just becomes this like cluster situation, right? Of just you don't feel like you're really impacting the team.
Sometimes it feels like they're just doing it all for you.
Right, exactly. Especially when you're not Kirby. Like Kirby's at least leading the group, even if
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's definitely a bonk. I really like being able to play with Isaac. It's fun. I thought it was more fun to play Kirby Forgotten Land as 2-player because I felt like I actually had impact then.
The new Kirby game seems like it's going to be the optimal fun because everybody will be able to play Kirby. So you'll all have first class copy ability stuff.
Yes.
You won't
that
have
was
limited
one of our
moveset.
bonks. That was one of our bonks for Forgotten Land. So
Yeah,
that's
like,
awesome.
Bandana Waddle Dee did have moves, but he only had his moves.
Right, he never got
Kirby
to get new
kept
ones.
upgrading.
Although we did read that when Kirby uses an upgraded ability, Bandana Waddle Dee gets more, does more damage.
Oh, I actually don't remember that. Oh, wow. That's a nifty thing. So, like, you're not completely left behind when it's like a level 5 Dragonfire Kirby.
Right. But the downside to that is you don't really see it. Like, Dragon Kirby's literally got, like, wings and is, like, shooting fire. And Waddle Dee looks and acts exactly the same. So even though he might be doing more damage, it's not like...
Just a little Waddle Dee with a little bandana and a spear.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, so that's a bonk. Another bonk is that the enemies reset almost immediately. Like this is the fastest in any game I've ever seen enemies reset, and it's a little bit disorienting.
Is it that they reset like if you leave the screen at all when you get back to that look? Oh, they'll like reset on screen?
I'm pretty sure they've reset on screen, or like maybe I've just literally put my toe off the screen and it's like, oh, they're back.
Oh.
Like, it is, like, so fast. I've never seen it that fast.
Wow.
And I just find that a little bit, like, I mean, maybe it's because it's, like, a little bit, I don't know. I don't know why, but it's a little bit much, I think. Because you
let the allies take care of that.
Well, because you clear an area, and then you, like, so you can, like, figure it out, but then it's like, no, there's actually going to be enemies constantly. But despite that, my final bonk is that it's actually baby easy.
Oh,
it's so baby. I've done like 2.5 worlds now because the first world is always going to be baby easy. Like, it's so easy. And I even tried to see if there was a setting so I could like wild mode, like make it harder. And I can't find that. I don't think it exists.
No. I think once you beat the game,
okay,
is when you unlock. Because from what I remember, that was the original way of doing it. When you beat like Kirby's Dreamland, the first one, one of my first video games.
Ooh.
When you beat the game, it told you on the start screen, press up B and A or something together, and like you would go into hard mode, and all the enemies would be slightly meaner looking and do more damage and take more hits.
I like that they're meaner looking. That's funny.
Yeah, no, it was the scary mode. Ooh.
Cool. I hope they do that in the new Dreamland. But so this one, it's just because you have 3 allies attacking things as well as you. It's just not hard. Like it's just so easy. And it's still fun to play. I'm not going to say it's so easy it's impossible to play, but it's just like, am I doing anything? You know?
How much impact are you actually having as
There's
a person?
like one boss battle where one of my allies kind of like almost died, and that was the most dramatic it got. Like I've only lost lives because I'm bad at jumping. And no other, like I've just like jumped and fell down. Like
Hold on, Kirby flies.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, moving on.
No, I'll tell you, it's actually pretty funny. There was there's also, this is kind of it goes kind of to the combo moves. There's like these platforms where you can get all the allies on, and then you get to do like a special move. Mm-hmm. And one of them I actually didn't like, and it was called the star something. Basically, you're on a star and you like glide around. And so I'm like gliding around on the star, like trying to see what there is to see. And I thought, oh, like there might be something down here. And I just glide down, but I glided off screen and it was like, you died.
Oh
so,
no.
so yeah, so I did that.
Outrageous.
Yeah. So anyway, that's Kirby Star Allies. You know, if you aren't very familiar with video games, this one might be a good one to start with. Because I just thought of one more honk. Can I have one more honk?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
Nah, just kidding. Yeah, go ahead, hit that.
They have the controls on the screen at all times. Like in the top, it's small. It's not like annoying, but in the top right corner, it shows like what each button does.
That's
quick.
good.
And I like that. And I think so. Like again, as I was about to say, this is a really good like starter game. I think like if someone wants to get into Kirby specifically games, this would be a really good one to start with because it really walks you through how things work. It really teaches you about copy abilities. You get to learn about the world and the characters, and I think that's cool. Anyway.
So what you're saying is if you've never played a Kirby game, go out there, get a Switch if you have to. Get Kirby Star Allies and get into the Kirby series. Let's go.
But don't play with a friend.
Yeah, absolutely do not play with a friend. Play alone in your room like gamers are supposed to.
Exactly, like it was intended. Okay. Well, Isaac, what about you? Are you going to honk and bonk something for us today?
Yeah, so maybe it's not entirely fair to honk and bonk a demo. Maybe I should do the full game, but I'm just going to talk.
You've done it before.
Yeah, I have done it before, especially Steam Fest. But so, developer Aggro Crab brings us Going Under, and now this is a demo. Things might be different, but I'm going to go over what I thought of it. It was recommended to me by a friend a while ago, and I downloaded it as soon as they recommended it, and I did not play it until just recently. I saw it, and I was like, oh, hey, that's that game. So I thought, going into this, and just based on like the screenshots, I thought that this was like a visual novel game.
Okay.
Because that's what it kind of looks like, and I did not read the info about it. But it's actually a roguelike about existing in a corporate capitalist hexscape. Okay. So like it starts off with like a corporate reel of like how positive this big company is for the community, and like we're offering free and unpaid internships to 1,000 lucky employees, blah blah blah, with the like hint that it's possibly also leading to the destruction of the world, or is just in general a bad place, as capitalism often is. Corporations,
no, really?
I mean, but yeah, no, we'll go with it. So you start off with like a little cutscene, and it's like your boss saying, hey, you've got to go into the basement and kill goblins that keep coming up from and stealing office supplies. And you're like, okay, I have to kill things? What? Like, I've never killed anything before. So good character to start with. And you go into the basement, and there's like a bunch of, they're called joblins, and they've got like skateboards, and they're throwing like shaking up soda bottles and stuff as like weapons, and like hitting you with ping pong bats. The major conceit of this game is that you don't have like weapons, you scavenge items. So like you grab like a potted plant and you beat the crap out of a goblin with it. And as you fight with the potted plant or whatever weapon you have, it loses durability and it eventually breaks. So I think that is a pretty interesting system. Like usually you have like an ammunition system keeping things kind of like a resource management thing. Like, oh, which one of my guns do I use for this situation? Do I need to save it for later? But this is kind of like frantically searching around the room for what you can use because everything has super low durability. I don't know whether that falls as a honk or a bonk.
That sounds a lot like Lila's Sky Arc.
Yeah, actually, yes. Now that you say it, I wasn't thinking about this before, but this has a lot of similarities with Lila's Sky Arc, where you are constantly like picking up stuff, you get a couple uses out of it, and then you move on to the next thing. Yeah, so another honk is that skills and power-ups were frequent and also generally cool. Like they had an immediate and obvious impact on how you were playing the game. I feel like with a lot of these games, so I've talked about Nuclear Throne, I've talked about Enter the Gungeon, we've talked about Binding of Isaac, all very similar style games where it's a randomly generated level. You get skill ups,
Skill ups.
which skill ups, yeah, that modify like your gaming you're playing, or like you'll get items or weapons or whatever. This is I found one room which had two skill ups attached to it on one floor. Like I just went into another room, and so when you get a skill up, it gives you a choice between two things. Like you go into a closet and there's two power ups floating there, and you get to read what they do. You get to pick which one you want, and leave the room newly powered up. And like there are things like upper body strength, which not only makes your character's arms like super long and like your chest much bigger, but normally when you pick up heavy items in the game, it slows your movement down because you're like dragging like this massive crate or like this massive like potted tree, and you're like carrying it overhead and like slowly walking around. But this like extends the range and increases the damage that you do, and you don't get slowed down anymore because you're so buff. There was another one called I'm Baby,
Oh my
which made
gosh.
you teeny tiny, and I
Wow.
would love to see the I'm Baby upgrade with the upper body strength upgrade, just because I feel like that would be silly. And what being small does is it makes you much less likely to be hit by things. So like everything that I found except for bombs had an interesting immediate like impact in gameplay. I got one power up that was bombs that I'd never learned how to trigger. I don't know what was supposed to happen with there, but like nothing happened. But other than that, they were all cool. Um, Onto the bonks. The bonks.
Mm-hmm.
So the crossbow was absolutely impossible to aim. So one of the items was a crossbow. In general, you can throw all your junk, but like there was a couple dedicated ranged weapons. Crossbow specifically was it faced so it aimed where the character was facing in the world instead of where the camera was facing.
Oh, that makes sense to me.
So it did not make sense to me. So whenever I used it, I did not hit like a single shot. It doesn't have like an aiming line to
That is
indicate.
annoying.
Yeah, like it doesn't indicate where it's going to shoot except for wherever your character is facing. So as because the camera and the movement are decoupled entirely. I'm often like spinning the camera around to keep a track on enemies and then running, dodging their attacks or dodging other enemies or looking for items. So like I would use the crossbow and then I would just plink, 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 hit nothing because the aiming was kind of kludgy. Second thing was there is some kind of in-game mechanical delineation between junk items and weapons, and it wasn't exactly clear to me what was considered a junk item and a weapon. Um, it was like mostly obvious,
Mm-hmm.
but every once in a while I'd be like, wait, why can't I like put this in the pocket? So the mechanical delineation is junk weapons are the ones that slow you down, and you also can't put them in your pocket.
Okay.
Whereas if you pick up like a sword or a pencil, you can put those in your pocket and save them for later. Um, and they don't slow you down at all. And it's like, to me, a pencil seems more of a junk object than a sword does. It doesn't seem like they're in the same category, but like, yeah, you could also fit a pencil in your pocket. But then they also have like entire guitars that you can fit in your pocket, but you can't fit like small like single-handed potted plants. And then there are some power-ups that affect either like junk items or weapons.
I was gonna make a pen is mightier than the sword joke, but he went.
Uh,
I missed my opportunity.
yes. Oh, that
Hmm.
actually makes me think of a honk
Oh,
that
okay.
I missed. Is that before you pick any item up, it has a little arrow indicating whether it is better or worse, at least attack wise, than what you're holding.
That's pretty cool,
So
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're carrying a pencil and you walk up to a giant skull-shaped pot with a tree in it, the tree plant pot has a green arrow, and you go, "Oh, that's stronger than my pencil." So
Look
you
at
pick it up
that.
and
Wow.
put the pencil in your pocket or whatever. Um, oh, you can also throw like every. I think I mentioned it briefly, but you can throw every item in the game, which is pretty fun. Just pinging people with pencils,
Hmm.
or picking up like a massive box and like crushing it with someone. But yeah, overall, it was a pretty cool game. I recommend everyone check out the demo. And I've got a pretty big backlog, which is the only thing stopping me from actually buying and playing the game more. But maybe when I dig through it, I'll revisit it and see if this can recapture my spirit for Enter the Gungeon, Nuclear Throne, etc., which I have also not played in a while, despite being some of my favorite games. But yeah, that's Going Under demo
Cool.
by, just to reiterate, give them credit, by Aggro Crab and published by Team 17 Digital, available on Steam.
Awesome.
So now that we've bonked, do you want to pitch a game to me and then I'll hit it with a baseball bat and knock it out of the park
Yeah.
and I don't know where the end of this metaphor is, but
Baseball metaphors, we got them.
yeah, they
We
just
got 'em
never
here.
end.
Just like a grand slam never ends, probably. Anyway, baseball. So my game's not about baseball this time.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I do have a game, and its working title is Burger Brawl. And it is loosely based on real events. The story
What?
is that you're at a cookout and the burgers have arrived off the grill, but there aren't enough for everybody.
Okay. I was there for this real event.
Yeah, there's not enough burgers for everyone, folks, but everyone wants a burger. So this is a very simple, I think of it as the Goose Game style.
Graphically or
Graphically.
like how it controls
And kind of how it controls both.
Oh, okay.
And you have to make your way through a maze of people and barbecue obstacles to get a burger before they're all gone. And you have to get the burger, you have to put it on the bun, put on the condiments, and get all of it. And so I think,
like this.
And so as the levels go on, obviously there's a time limit because people will get to the burgers first. But I want everything to intensify. Maybe there's a list of what you have to include on your burger, and the last level, it's everything in the house has to be on your burger. Before you actually win, you have to push people over. I just want it to be goofy, silly, fun time. Kind of an over the shoulder third person look. And
Okay.
yeah, that's Burger Brawl. Again, it's pretty simple, but it's a little fun.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
So I'm guessing, I'm not sure if you mentioned, but multiplayer?
I actually thought no, but
Oh.
what? So you were thinking people would be racing?
Yeah, I was thinking multiplayer because this sounds a lot like you might have heard of Fall Guys.
No.
Oh.
Oh, did we watch that? Did we watch that?
No, so
No.
it was a pretty popular party game or multiplayer game that came out around the same time as Among Us,
Okay.
where it is like an obstacle course with slightly wacky physics where your goal is to just kind of go through the obstacle course to get to the end before any of the other, I don't know, 50, 100 players. I haven't actually played it myself.
I guess I kind of don't like the multiplayer aspect because the idea is that there's a limited number of items and each. So if there's 5 burger patties and you get the last one, then the person you're playing with just watches you finish that level. I don't know. That doesn't seem fun.
Oh yeah, well I figure as soon as they get eliminated well, yeah, I kind of see what you're saying because you don't get eliminated necessarily, you just don't win.
Yes.
But also, could you pull the burgers out of other people's hands and brawl with them, or
I don't know. I didn't really think it. I thought it was once you get a burger, you have the burger, and then the next thing you have to get is a bun, right? And then
Okay.
if you don't get the burger, you lose. And if you don't get a bun, you lose. And if you don't get the ketchup, that kind of thing. So
Okay.
I think if it was multiplayer, it would have to be a multiplayer collaborative, like Goose Game. So you're both making one burger
Oh.
and you can help each other. Or you both make two
Hmm.
burgers at the same time. But like I don't want it to be a competitive multiplayer because I just don't think that makes sense for the way I've designed
Okay.
it.
Fair.
But yeah. So that's my game. Does it sound tasty to you? Does it sound like something you'd want to slap on the grill?
It. I. My grill doesn't play video games.
Oh, weird.
I do
That's
not have
odd.
games on that grill.
Huh.
But
Well,
yeah, no. I will invest. I will invest money dollars into this idea. Get your company working on it. Stat pronto.
but Isaac, so do you have a game idea for me
I
to put on the
do.
grill?
I also have game idea for the listeners, not
Ooh,
just you. Yeah. There's other
wow.
people involved in this, by the
No way.
way.
No
So
way.
selfish, so selfish. So, this is either my greatest or my worst game idea, I
Okay.
think,
All right.
because
Wow.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, this feels kind of phoned in, but also brilliant.
Okay. All right.
So we'll let A, the audience, and B, you decide in that order. Um,
Okay.
so this is Darko. It's a first-person shooter game where you have a gun in one hand and a sword in another hand, and it is also pitch black. And you cannot use your hands for anything except for sword and gun.
Okay.
So when you shoot your gun, the muzzle flash provides light, and also the bullets will kill enemies. When you use a sword, you can cut ropes, which will, help you progress through levels, and slash or trigger traps to kill enemies. You can also just stab enemies.
So there's just like ropes everywhere in this.
Yeah. There's
Okay.
a lot of ropes, and there's also crystals, where if you slash a crystal with your sword, it will light up, providing some source of light, but also bullets will shatter the crystals. For some reason, these crystals are sword resistant, but bullet weak.
Okay.
I don't know the physics for it, but don't worry about it. Which means that if you slash a crystal, you've got a light source, but now there's an enemy attacking you. Better not shoot the crystal, otherwise you'll run out of the light source, and it might make things harder for you. So, and also if you just are blindly firing your gun around, you might break the crystals and then lose your source of light. So that's one of the many features of this game. The Now you're asking yourself, you can't use your hands for anything but sword and gun. So like, what about health packs and upgrades and stuff?
I was not actually
Well,
asking myself that. So
the audience was. Don't worry, the
okay,
audience
great.
was. Um, there are friends also in this dark dungeon. Another
Allies.
thing, you can't just blindly be slashing and shooting around because you might hurt these friends. And what they do is that they can apply these power ups to you. So your hands are full. If you find a flashlight, you can't do anything with it, but the ally can pick up the flashlight and either tape it to your gun or hold it themselves and be a source of light. And then when you run out of batteries, they have to take the flashlight off your gun. So you want to keep these friends alive as long as possible in this dark, dark dungeon. And the final mechanical thing that I'm going to lay out here to give a further idea of how this game should be made
Mhm.
is, various enemies will have different behavior. So some enemies can see in the dark, so they're the most dangerous ones. Like they'll
Oh, so
just come
none
at
of the
you.
other enemies can see in the dark?
Pretty much no. A lot of the enemies will be
Interesting.
fumbling around just as much as you.
Okay.
So like if you say if you have a flashlight taped to your gun, you've just made a target of yourself. Now all your enemies can see you. If you slash a light crystal, now enemies can see you. If you're shooting your gun around, they can hear where the gun is and follow you to the source of the gun. So you also have to be careful about what kind of enemies are in the area, because if you do too much stuff, you might attract powerful guys that you're not ready to deal with. Or it would be a real bummer if you start reloading because you just unloaded a clip, looking for the muzzle flashlight, and then an enemy comes up around the corner as you're reloading it, and you're now I'm just thinking, how do you reload? Oh, that's something that your friends have to do for you, so
Oh
I
my
hope you're keeping
gosh.
them alive. Because your hands, you've got a sword in one hand and a gun in the other hand. You can't use the sword hand to reload the gun. Wow, we've just got another whole layer that I just realized. I didn't realize designing it, but that's Darko,
Okay,
folks.
so is it really truly pitch black, or can you see shadows, or is it just literally nothing? Unless you're
Uh,
using one of the like light power ups.
Depends on the area. Some areas will have a little bit more ambient light than others. I think as you get deeper down into the dungeon, known as Darko, that's apparently the name of the dungeon in my head.
Okay,
Um, it gets more and more pitch black, and the enemies are more and more acquainted with being in the pitch blackness. So,
makes sense. Okay, all right. Well, that sounds like a wild time. Like, I feel like it's a game in which you would expect to die a lot.
yes, this is a difficult game, but it's not like a roguelike or a
Right.
roguelite even in my head. It has set levels and puzzles that you solve your way through.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. 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 A lot
So,
going on. I would
yeah,
definitely play it. I would
thank you.
try it. I would get
Worked really hard on
frustrated
that.
about it, but I thought it sounded very cool.
Before we move into the next segment, I
Okay.
actually wanted to do something new. Is that okay? Could I?
Yeah. Go for
Okay.
it.
I wanted to leave an open question. I would like to know your opinion on this, and also the listeners can f- email in DM. But how long do you give a game to like grab you, to absorb you in? So last episode we talked about Horizon Zero Dawn, which front loaded tons and tons and tons and tons of cutscenes,
Yeah.
and then babied you through a tutorial, and before it gave you like anything. And I was playing Going Under, which immediately like it gives you that cutscene, and then you're in it, and you're like in the midst of it, like boom, instantly, like within 2 or 3 minutes. And then where on the spectrum, like, do you have a limit? Like, is there a game? W- well, yeah, I'll just re-ask the question and give you time to answer it. How long do you give a game to like grab you?
Yeah. It's a good question. And I will put it for everyone. You can either email, you can DM us. I'll also put it as a poll on Spotify, which is something you can do.
Oh, we can do that.
Yeah. So if you go to the episode on Spotify, it should be there on your phone apps. Get on your apps. It's probably on the computer too. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's game to game. I'm trying to think of games I have given up on. So, okay, I think Garden Story. I gave up on Garden Story.
Now, was it because like the mechanics didn't grab you? So was that a fact, like it didn't grab you, or you just it didn't have enough to hold on to you?
Isn't that the same thing?
Hmm.
Not holding on and not
Maybe it
grabbing.
is. Well, because I feel like how much did you play it?
Yeah, I like maybe like 30, 40 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Um So I would say grabbing, like there's like a hook, right? Like you are really interested in it, and then maybe it doesn't pay off, or it never escalates beyond that, so it doesn't hold you. So like I consider there to be a difference between like a game that grabs you and loses you, and then a game that like never grabs you. Like
Got
you
it.
never have that moment of I like this. I like where this is going. Let's see where
Well,
this plays out.
I don't think I understand what you're saying with the last uh scenario, but I don't think I've ever experienced where like I'm not interested in a game. Like I guess when I play a game, it's already hooked me, right? Like I'm already
Right. So that's where I was with that's where I kind of stand. Like
no,
I
but like I mean, I wouldn't even start playing it if the concept itself didn't sort of interest me, right? So
okay.
it only can lose me because
Fair.
because
That's
if I read a game and I say that looks boring, I'm not going to play. I would only play if there's something interesting. And then, like you said, it might not pay off. So if I'm like, oh, well, that sounds really interesting. And then I start playing and I'm like, okay, that's the thing that I thought was going to happen isn't happening. Yeah, I would say about 30 minutes in general, like for anything. Because, and for any reason too. So like Garden Story just like I just didn't seem to care about it after the initial hook. Because I was interested in like what they were talking about, what was going on in this world, but just like not interested enough, I guess, to keep trying. And then I'm thinking about like Gone Home I tried to play, and it just made me too nauseous. But like I still gave it about 30 minutes. And I'm like, this isn't worth. But then I will say Stray makes me sick, and I still want to go back to that. So it's kind of like Gone Home obviously wasn't like intricate enough or like exciting enough for me to like push through to play it in that 30 minutes. So yeah, I would say about 30 minutes.
Okay, so and now let me make sure that I'm parsing this correctly. I'm gonna put this out in the terms that I understand it, and maybe it'll help listeners, maybe game designers. But so you're basically saying marketing material is very important to give the initial hook.
Yep.
And then you'll give about 30 minutes to see if the game lives up to the marketing material.
Yeah. And I will say, I don't necessarily sit down and I'm like, okay, timer on. Like, let's see how this goes.
Right.
It's just, I think if I'm not into this game in about 30 minutes, I'm not going to be into it. You know, like I just, yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I guess where I'm coming from with the question,
what do you think?
What made me ask the question is kind of thinking a little bit about Horizon Zero Dawn and some other games that I've played. And like there's been a couple times where I've been interested in the concept of a game and even replayed a game that I have played before and gotten through like the tutorial segment where it's supposed to be teaching you how the game goes, and like a lot of the time it's stuff that I've already picked up from playing other games. I understand the reason why they have to have this slow like tutorial segment for other gamers, but like there who might not have played similar games enough to like have this down pat or for whatever reason. And I'm like, this stuff can be super extremely boring, and like I have to fight through it sometimes to get to like the actual game itself. And am I doing the game a disservice by kind of just not being hooked into it immediately? So I feel this way a lot with Pokemon. I feel a lot with like modern Pokemon games where I've been through the beginning segment so much. Like no Pokemon game really just gives you a Pokemon and puts you on the adventure. Like there's always like a story setup quest before you get into the real part. And honestly, for me at this point in my life as a lifelong Pokemon fan, the fun part that I'm looking for in a Pokemon doesn't even happen until you've beaten the game. Usually once you beat the Elite Four, that's when you can usually start training up like a competitive Pokemon team, and that's the part that really interests me. So it's like I've got 8 hours to dig through Pokemon before I get to the part that I'm actually interested in, and I can see myself with the new one, Scarlet and Violet, coming out. I can see myself not even making it to that point, and just because I'm the game would need something special to like hook me past the initial concept.
I guess for me, what you're describing seems like a different problem. Is that you're describing annoying tutorials versus like the whole. So like for example, okay, Garden Story didn't really have a tutorial per se. It does the tutorial, I think, in a way that Pokemon does it though, where basically like you do tiny tasks that are very simple to get the game going. That does teach it to you. It's not the same tutorial in the sense of like Elden Ring, where you jump into a tutorial pit and do a tutorial.
Yeah.
Right.
Optionally.
Well, so that's what I'm saying is I think what you're describing is you just want optional tutorials. But I don't know. I guess a well-done tutorial for me is like, it might be very easy, but it's still fun. Like, okay, the first level of Kirby and the Forgotten Land is basically a tutorial. but it's still really fun to play it. Like, it's just still like there's still puzzles. There's
Yeah.
still like fun enemies. It's just you're basically 100% going to make it through because it's designed to be easy so that you can figure out the controls.
Yeah, I would say that Kirby and like Mario games have somewhat of an advantage in this because I would barely consider what they have tutorials. So I would consider a tutorial it's the entire segment of the game before you get to the core gameplay loop.
But also,
Yes.
Isaac, you didn't answer. So what's your answer? How long do you wait for a game to pull you
Oh,
in?
so like yeah, I kind of started going into prose about why I asked the question,
Which is fine,
what
but I
spurred
would
it,
like to
but
know your answer.
uh I feel like too much time. No. I have I feel like I've always given games until I get to the core gameplay loop
Okay.
generally. Um yeah, I think I've always given every game as long as it takes, which varies from like Kirby where it's like it shows you a sign, press up to jump, press A to absorb or whatever. And then here's a real level, you're in the real level compared to well, Elden Ring also jumps you in to the core gameplay loop almost immediately. Uh especially if you skip the tutorial. Um
Yeah. No, it sounds like
yeah,
it really sounds like this is less of a grabbing you and more of a tutorial problem for you.
Yeah, I guess maybe it is. Maybe it is. I just wanted to get to that juicy core gameplay loop. So
Well,
I
yeah,
was
I
also
think
thinking about it in the context of like I feel like book people have
yes.
an answer to this question. Movie people, show people have a question answer to this question. For shows, if you don't get me on the first episode, I'm not likely. Like if I'm watching it on my own, I'm not likely to continue a show if the first episode doesn't grab me, even if everyone is like, hey, it doesn't get good till episode 3.
And yet we did keep watching House of the Dragon. So,
Yeah, that's because that's a together activity,
oh
which is
boy.
different.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think let's answer both. What do you think about tutorials? What's the perfect tutorial? And then how long will you stay with the game until you say bye-bye?
Hmm.
It's a good question. All right. Well, thank you for that new segment. Isaac asks a question. We're going to move on.
Deep dive. It's a deep dive question
It's a deep dive
about game
question.
design.
I like it. I think
Because it answers a very important thing for any prospective game designers is, obviously get your marketing out there so that people know going in what they think that they're signing up for and then give them what they signed up for within about 30
I
minutes.
mean, to be fair, that is pretty much all, like, that is good advice across a lot of different mediums,
Yeah.
right? Like, if you're writing a book, I mean, there's been so many, like, books and movies that have been misgenred, marketed, and people, if you wrote a horror book, but it was marketed as, like cozy mystery,
Oh, yeah.
then people won't like it. Even if you'd gotten it to the right people, the horror fans might have loved it. So, that kind of thing. All right. Well, thank you for the deep dive with Isaac. the next and final segment of this podcast is the rapid fire round. We are going to generate 3 random words. We are going to make a game out of those 3 random words. We're going to create a tutorial on how someone would play that game. I'm kidding. That's a joke. And then we are going to name that game. We have to use all 3 words, but we can stretch the definition, and we will stretch the definition. Isaac, are you ready for our first 3 words?
I am. I'm born ready for the first 3 words.
Good. The first 3 words are last, pill,
Last pill.
oak.
OAK?
OAK, yes, like the tree. Last pill, oak. All right, wait. I have a silly thought.
Okay.
Pillow.
Hit me with it.
Pillow, like a pillow oak, like you're sleeping in an oak tree. Pilloak. That's the biggest stretch that I could think of, but
I don't know what to do with that. Like,
Pilloak.
I don't know what to do with that.
I don't know. I just thought I'd throw it out there. This is the brainstorm. This is the rapid fire.
Okay.
We get to be a little loosey-goosey.
We do. Okay. So, all right. Still don't know what to do with Pilloak. We might go back to that.
You don't have to use it.
We might go back to that.
It's not required.
But Last Pill Oak. So, for some reason, I am thinking of, and I'm not sure if you've played any games like this, Silent Hill or Resident Evil style old school horror game, where you are navigating like an old mansion, an old asylum, an old hospital, etc., and it's filled with creepy crawlies.
I mean, I haven't, but it sounds like fun. Should I play?
I'll show you some gameplay videos of some of these that I'm talking about, and we'll talk about that off camera. But so the reason why I'm thinking about this is they often have puzzles where it's like, oh, you go to the old oak tree in the front and you dig around in it, and you'll find like the blue key card or say the last pill.
Okay.
So that's one of the puzzles in this game is you have to find the last pill, which does something to unlock the next area of the game by going out and digging in front of the old oak tree.
I would want the last pill to be like the final thing.
Oh,
because like that's an easy character motivation. Is like, my best friend is dying and there's only one more antidote pill.
Oh, okay.
Done. Easy peasy. So maybe the oak part is like, maybe that's how you, like a Nightmare Before Christmas style, you got to enter through the oak tree to get to this facility or something.
Oh, okay.
I just switched the order of your elements. That's all I did.
That's fine. Yeah. All right. So, So we've got like a horror game, exploring apparently a world that exists inside of an oak tree to find a pill to save your ailing friend.
Yes.
So maybe the pill gets taken by a messed up looking squirrel.
Ooh, yeah.
And he runs into the oak tree, and you go in, and then
very
you, like,
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, you poke your head into like the big knot it goes into, and you realize there's a whole world in there. You crawl in, and there's all these like messed up looking monster animals, and you go into this slimy horror world, and eventually fight the squirrel.
This sounds like a good game for spooky season. I'm into it.
Halloween games. This is The Horror of the Oak.
Okay.
No?
Yeah.
The Old Oak. No.
I guess The Horror of the Oak is just too on the nose.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think because, like, all right, so it needs to be 2 words because because in my head, this is based a lot on Resident Evil and even more specifically Silent Hill.
Okay, so we can call it
so it's got to have 2 words.
Deadly Forest. Something forest, I think, would be good.
All right.
Hidden Forest.
You know what? I like it.
Okay.
A forest inside of a tree.
Yeah.
I love it. So with 40 seconds left on the clock, you have it, listener. Hidden Forest, the horror game about entering a tree and finding apparently a whole forest inside.
Yes. All right. Are you ready for our next 3 words?
Yes, I am.
Okay, they are room.
Room.
Ban. Oh.
Ban? B-A-N?
Yep, and rifle.
Room, ban, and rifle. All right, so I'm going to go the opposite of where everyone's brain just went because mine went someplace else first. Yeah. Rifle through.
I also went there. Well, not first, but immediately after.
No, that was my first. I did not even think of the other definition, the gun definition.
See, I thought of gun because ban was right before, so I was like...
Oh.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, wow, weird. All right,
but yes,
so...
I like rifle through. We're in a room, rifle through.
Okay, you are an investigator looking for banned paraphernalia You are a cop. You are a cop. You investigate people's
I was
rooms.
thinking you would be a mom investigating like your teenager's room.
I feel like that limits the scope of the game because
Okay.
like if you're like a cop, this can be like a multi like hour long epic game where you unravel a conspiracy and
Okay.
eventually are turned against the fascist government that you are working for, who is rifling through people's stuff for banned paraphernalia. I'm thinking real Fahrenheit
Wow.
451 vibes is where
Okay.
I'm going with
No, yeah,
this.
no, I'm bought in, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it starts off like you are searching for let's be super on the nose, like books or whatever, and like oh you're arresting people who have like these dangerous books, blah blah blah, and then you realize hey maybe books aren't so bad, and then it goes off. So it's a first person, not a combat focus, but combat will come up in the game. What's a special mechanic?
I don't know. Put me on the spot.
Ah, jeez.
I don't know. I wasn't gonna have it first person. I thought it was gonna be like overhead, but
Okay, all right. Let's go. Let's go overhead. Let's go overhead. Investigative, kind of.
and I kind of want it to look like Stranger Things the game.
So, oh, pixel art. Okay,
Yeah,
all right. Yeah.
yeah. That's all I got
Oh,
for you
so
though.
are you thinking also like turn-based RPG
No,
stuff
because you
too,
just be
or
one
like?
cop.
Okay, all right. So you're
Maybe
a
like kind of like
guy.
Turnip Boy E, because that's kind of how Turnip Boy works. Is you like discover this whole like backstory situation as you
Okay.
do your little tasks.
Oh man. Okay.
Did I just
I
completely
mean, this
change the
game
game?
actually now this game is just Turnip. We just made Turnip Boy because what is Turnip
No.
Boy except for rifling through people's houses, finding their well, you have personally banned documents and you rip them all up. So what we've just discovered is we've made Turnip Boy commits tax evasion. People, that is what
Oops.
we make from. Only we do the asset swap version of it. We steal their code line for line. We change the graphics.
No.
Instead of a turnip,
Okay.
it
We
is
would never.
a.
Don't even
Uh,
joke about that. We would
you're right.
never.
No, we're not evil, but uh, we've got a minute and 30 seconds left, and I'm struggling out here. I got nowhere else to go with
I
this
thought
one.
we did the game. We made a game. I don't know what more you need.
We need a name.
Oh, well, that's just called. Um, it's called The Corruption of Officer Jeffries.
Okay, and you said the horror of the oak was on the nose, but okay, the
Well, I
the
was going. Okay.
corruption of Officer Jeffries.
You were going for something like, what's it called? Restless Evil, Resident Evil. And then I was going for like something like Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, which again is very on the nose. That's what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have to do that. You could call it something
No,
else, like right.
no.
Like,
I like it, but
okay.
did we ever come up with a unique mechanic?
The whole game is a unique mechanic. I don't know. Like I don't think we never stick to that. What's
We
the
often.
what's the unique mechanic for the Hidden Forest?
Oh shoot, you're right. Okay, well, with 20 seconds left on the clock, giving up on the unique mechanic, but we did design a game. It is the corruption of Officer
For those of
Jeffries,
you
a game.
confused, we wrote in our notes that we should have a unique mechanic, but we hardly ever do that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just feel bad when we describe the game as another game.
Yeah, but it's a rapid fire, so I feel like it's hard.
Yeah,
Like
fair. All right. Let third
I see what you
rapid
mean.
fire.
We will try to make a unique mechanic for this one. How about that?
Okay, maybe that's the first thing we try to come up with.
Okay, I like that.
I'm ready.
Okay, spontaneous
Okay,
interference
spontaneous interference,
crisis.
crisis.
Big words, lots of big energy words in this one.
Okay,
So I think
spontaneous
the
interference
unique
crisis.
mechanic is that your character will explode at unknown times throughout the game. No? Okay, well.
So, what's the gameplay implications of this?
I guess like there must have to be some kind of warning that you're gonna explode, but there's no like pattern to it. So you can either use your explosions to like help you get through obstacles, or you have to avoid exploding things that you need to use.
Okay, all right. Cool. All right, I like this a little bit better because what I was thinking of is a game where the unique mechanic is that you interrupt conversations.
Did you say that
But
because I interrupted your game idea?
no,
No. Okay.
no, that was my idea. But
Okay.
I like so you're a character who explodes at random intervals with little warning, and you use that feature to solve puzzles, but you also have to balance the fact that you are constantly pretty much exploding. You have to mitigate the unintended consequences of that while trying to force intended consequences.
Yes.
So,
And maybe
okay, you
you could
stay
get
away
like
from flammable materials
yes.
when you are about to explode, unless that's how you solve the puzzle.
Exactly. Or if
Okay.
you have like an ally, you don't want to accidentally murder them. You could get like items that either like make your explosions bigger, or like maybe like a vest that like stops them from happening for a certain amount of time, or things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Boom. And this game is called
Boom boom pow. No.
Yes. It's all.
It could
It's
be just
called
called Dynomite, and then the main character is a dinosaur.
Boom Boom Pow, the Dynomite story. Boom, with 2 minutes and 36 seconds
Okay.
on the clock. That is time. Boom Boom Pow, the Dynomite story, a game where you are a dinosaur
Who
that
explodes?
inconveniently explodes, but you use that to both your advantage and suffer the disadvantages of it. Folks, that's a wrap. That's a
wrap.
podcast.
That's a podcast. So thank you all for listening. If you want to find us on social media, we are on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Make That Game Pod. You can email us at makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitch and YouTube as Make That Game. We're twitch.tv/Make That Game. And on YouTube, you just got to search us and subscribe so we can get those sweet, sweet 100 subscribers and have a URL for you. Thank you all so much. And if you heard a game today that you think should exist in the real world, we encourage you to go out there and make
that
game. Nice.
noise.